Hello Starlets, welcome back. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some past life energies that feed on from the previous video. In the previous video I talked about how I perceive past lives, how to connect, and I said in that video that we needed an extra one, which was about healing. We've been working with healing all the way through this cycle with Donu, and it really was in my mind that the pinnacle perhaps of that healing for me and maybe for others is to do with past life cycles that interfere with the current life cycle. I do think they overlap. I do think that, as I was saying in the other video, the soul is trying to gather all the information in the nexus, and the feelers go out into all the different lives, the different universes, the different experiences. So what happens when the soul encounters a particular blockage, a particular pain or wounding that is not resolved in one lifetime for whatever reason? It could be the termination of that physical incarnation, the death of that physical incarnation. It can be that that situation was not resolved in a way that the soul felt was healing, and so we may seek it out again, and it may be with the same energy crossing over the same soul that we ran into the first time, or many times. And I think this is where the idea of having known people can come from, and we're so sure that we have run into people before in these experiences. So what happens when we know that we went through a cycle of some kind with someone that we failed to heal, and then in this lifetime we fail to heal it again? We fail to find resolution. And I'm using the word fail loosely, but on the surface of it, we feel like we failed. So I'm going to give you the example from my lifetime, that I knew an individual in a previous lifetime, and I was married to this individual. And this individual would go to war, whereas I did not in that lifetime. I was more of a witch or a evolver or a healer, depending on your definition. And I would enchant this person, and they were, I got lots of details about that previous life. I knew that his own father had died when he was very young, and he was adopted by a war chief figure who had his own son, and the two sons were inseparable for most of their life. But the adopted son became more renowned, became full of prowess. He was berserker style. And the only person that could calm him down from his rages was me, in that role that I was in that lifetime. And I had asked him not to go to war the last time because he had been called on by the father who was dying, and I had foreseen his death, and I didn't want him to go, and he chose to go to war anyway. And in this lifetime he chose the metaphorical battlefield over and over again, engaging in letting his rage out over and over again, and refused to be healed again. So my soul went through moments of feeling like I had failed that soul cycle in this lifetime. The truth of it is we don't really fail, we learn. There's a process of evolution. Our soul learns the lessons we need to know. Now, in the last lifetime, I released him and said goodbye, and he left, and he just went away. And in this lifetime I made the decision not to waste the rest of my life on somebody, hanging around for somebody like I did in that lifetime. So there's a change in response, there's an evolution, there's a growth, there's a putting yourself first for once, and finding the healing that you can find in this lifetime. It is a difficult thing to carry, because when you know the pattern from previous lifetimes and you can feel it happening again, or you've seen it happening again, it can feel even heavier than normal ending of a relationship or whatever it might be feels. I mean, they're all relationships with other people, but whether it be romantic or friendship or whatnot. And really the answer is to learn what we learn about ourselves, to heal ourselves, our soul. So our soul is not depending its healing, its feeling wounded, on the responses of somebody else. It's not serving somebody else before ourselves all the time. It's not putting our joy in somebody else's hands. It's rather looking at what we can do in this lifetime to feel stronger, to feel healed, and what that means. Realizing that we don't rely on other souls for our soul experience. We're all a community, yes. We're all connected, yes. But we're also an individual. These things are true simultaneously. So we can't feel as though we must place all of our healing in the hands of someone else. Because if they reject us, if they refuse to be healed, if they refuse to work on their own stuff, what are we going to do? Are we going to refuse to work on ourselves? Are we going to refuse to be healed and find joy in the future? I don't think I could do that. I think that hope is the most powerful healer of all. And we must continue, and we must learn the lessons. And perhaps that situation was never going to be healed, or they don't want to heal their soul in a way that, they're not ready for. Their incarnation is what their incarnation is. And whilst we influence each other, affect each other, help each other, heal each other, we cannot live for each other. We cannot grant our experiences to another. We can relate, we can be empathetic, we can listen, we can honor the experience, but we can't pretend that our experiences are someone else's or that theirs are ours. And that is one of the most important parts of feeling this way about repeat soul patterns that require healing, repeat soul traumas. What does it tell us about ourselves? What does it tell us about our own soul? What good can we take from it? What lesson can we learn? How can we be stronger in the future? How can we boundary like a mofo from here on out? How can we talk to our soul like an old friend? So the soul realizes on every level that we don't need to fix this. This is not something we need to keep repeating to fix. We have seen it more than once, perhaps. We have lived it many ways, and the outcome is still the same. So perhaps the outcome will always be the same. And it's time to allow that lesson to leave, to move on, to be free, and focus on other lessons of soul. So that's it for this particular video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to share my thoughts around that as well. Many blessings, and I will catch you next time.